the next question I wanted to get into is,
Mhm.
and it's a good one.
Okay.
So on the training side, right?
Okay.
When you first decided to come out and train with me, what
Hmm.
were your initial impressions? Go.
All right. So
And
before
I
we
don't
start that,
care.
so
You
so
can
you
say,
want to go like back in
you
time
can
when we
say
first started talking, or just like when I'm actually at the course?
both. We'll do both.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So I guess we got to talk about how we met. So we actually met on Instagram through Eddie Blevins, Black Guys Type Guys, the Sierra Code Wizard. In case you guys needed some work done, but he actually made a group with a whole bunch of guys, just had a passion for guns on Instagram. And then that's where I ended up linking up with Matt here. And then I was referred to his channel, and I started seeing all the work you were doing. What actually kind of got me interested in seeking him out is when you did the training that you put on for the West Virginia Police Department. I think it was Sheriff's Department in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And then I saw that, and I was like, I need to check this out. So then that's when I hit you up, and we started back and forth. So it took about a month, and then we finally met up in August. And then I took 3 of the guys that I worked with. And then honestly, we didn't know what to expect. We just knew we were going to get pistol and rifle training. But initially, just kind of some of the training I had in the background, I was like, we're probably going to be in the classroom for like 4 hours, going over like firearm legal statistics and laws and improper grips, sight alignment. And then we'll maybe get 2 hours on the range. Totally opposite. Maybe had total in the 2 days, maybe an hour's worth of class time where we sat down and talked about things, but a lot of the stuff was practical skills, demonstration, and application of what you were taught in the course. So I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect to get taught as much and learn as much as I did. I learned a lot about myself and also about my equipment that I need to make some adjustments to. Thank you very much. No more extended mag releases. But no, I definitely learned a lot. Like it was an eye-opening experience. And then just some of the things that we talked about, some of the things I've been great in, just coming from a fighting background, doesn't always necessarily translate to gunfighting skills. And that kind of just made me be more open as like, you know what, don't be so narrow-minded and just so focused on this is what works for me and nothing else will. You got to be able to try different things. And it'll definitely open up more tools in your toolbox that you have access to. So no, I definitely enjoyed it. We actually need to do something again real time soon
We
once
will.
COVID-19 passes
Yeah.
and get out of it when the world stops ending.
Right. Now, if you remember the
Okay.
first drill I had you guys do, and this is the reason why I asked it so I could lead into
Mm-hmm.
it for some of the other individuals listening. The
Yep.
first drill, and I do this at every course, is I staple up a shoot C target
Mm-hmm.
that looks like this.
Yep.
I have you stand about 5 to 7 yards away, and I
Mm-hmm.
tell you just shoot it 5 times. I don't give you any instruction on how to grip the pistol, how to press the trigger, how to line
Mm-hmm.
up your sights. I just say just shoot it. And the reason why I do that, the reason why I do that is so I can see where you already are at.
Yep.
I don't have to. If you're already holding a 1-inch group at 5 or 7 yards quickly, I now know that there's other things I can cover on with you.
Mm-hmm.
Where if other individuals are at a shotgun group at 3 or 5 yards or whatever it is with birdshot, then there's something else we need to talk about. But so I
Mm-hmm.
have you guys do that first, and then I have you guys shoot again, but under my instruction. And then
Yep.
I have you look at the 2 targets and say, "Is this worth your time?"
Mm-hmm.
and
And
so
it definitely was. For those of
and,
you wondering, it definitely was.
and so far that test has always worked to my favor. But yeah, so that's kind of how I look at it. Is
Mm-hmm.
when you're going to take a course, it is 50-50. Man, I don't know. Am I judging it off of courses I've taken in the past,
Mm-hmm.
or am I just going to kind of just see how it goes? But I look at it as, even if the course was bad, when courses are bad, I kind of I'm kind of 50-50. I don't like when people say, well, now I know what not to teach, or now I know what not to. I spent XYZ amount of money. Like, I could have for free known I didn't want to teach that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Right.
I didn't need to spend $600 to know that I'm not going to call a magazine a clip, or I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to, do some crazy gun handling John Wick press check. I
Yep.
didn't need to spend money to know that. I already knew it. Uh, No, I'm not joking about that either. I'm being serious.
Oh,
So
oh, okay.
I don't care. I don't care if that offends people. I don't do press check. So do you press check?
Yes.
You're kicked off the chat. All right.
But I don't do it just
Yeah,
to be cool. It's more
yeah,
so. This is more so when I was shooting the USPA's PSA matches here at the range. It's just I do it is just a comfort feeling. Like after a rapid slide, a little press check, make sure rounds in there, so I don't go click
yeah.
after the buzzer goes off. So that's more so when I do it.
Sure, sure, sure. When you put your shoes on, right? And let's
Uh,
say you're walking around for a little bit, do you lift your pants up to remember that you're wearing socks?
sometimes,
You do.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Normally you can feel it,
Okay.
but hey,
Sure.
sometimes you just need that extra comfort knowing that visual confirmation,
Sure.
knowing that okay, I have socks on.
Do you know what else works other than a press check, which can induce malfunctions?
Racking the slide.
Just, hey, it's loaded. There you go. I didn't have to do this and chance now there's a malfunction and now I look like a real jackwagon trying to clear it. I didn't have to do any of that. That's fine. Hey, two different worlds there. You can do whatever you want. I don't care.
Right.
Just don't tell me what to do.
I
And
got you.
but what that's the point of it is with training. There's certain people that on certain really depending on what your mindset is, you're going to
Hmm.
think and want to do different things. And regardless of what the training is, you might not change your opinion on it.
Hmm.
I will say I am so indoctrinated in just a martial sense of gun handling that
Hmm.
I do not do things that I can't do all the time. And what I mean by all the time, press checks only work if you have light. If
Hmm.
it's completely dark, can you
Hmm.
pull your slide to the rear and see around in the chamber?
Hmm. You can't.
You can't. So I do things that work in day, night, low light, high light, whatever it is. I
Hmm.
just do the same thing throughout because I have a small brain. Okay. I have to keep I have to keep it down to one thing
Right.
or my head will blow up.
Hmm.
But with that, the on the training side,
Hmm.
I don't want to go take courses where the dude is just sitting here telling me the whole time, do this, and this is the only thing you can do.
Hmm.
Why? Explain the why portion to it, right? Because if
Yep.
you're shooting 2 to 1 inch groups at 5, 7 yards, how
Hmm.
can I tell you to change how you're shooting?
You
Because you're
can't.
obviously shooting just fine. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So that blows my mind. But that goes, I think, into the teaching part.
Hmm.
You've been teaching for a while, and you kind of know how to teach, and you know
Yep.
how each student, and it goes into leadership. You know how there's some people who you
Hmm.
can talk to a certain way, and there are
Yep.
some that you have to kind of, you know, coddle. Um, right? You can't be hooting and hollering and making people do push-ups because not everybody's cool with
Right.
it. But there are some where it's like, all right, they learn from blunt force trauma and repetition.
Hmm.
And that's the only way I learn is blunt force trauma and repetition.
Right.
But when we have instructors who they don't have those they don't have teaching experience, they
Hmm.
don't have course experience. I went and took a James Yeager tactical response course out in
Yep.
Camden, Tennessee. It was fighting pistol. Did
Hmm.
I already know how to shoot my pistol? Yes. Did I already know how to shoot from retention? Yes. Did I already know how to draw my pistol and shoot? Yeah, I already knew all that stuff.
Hmm.
But what I was able to learn is how he teaches it. I was
Hmm.
able to see how students reacted to his form of instruction. So now, when I'm teaching my classes, I took things away from there that changed my course curriculum because I was
Hmm.
like, man, that's an excellent point. I never thought about it like that. But if you're not going out and seeking other people's points of view,
Hmm.
you're going to, I feel sorry for anyone you teach because they are just, it's a one-page book.
Right.
I mean, it's a one-page book.
It is.
And there's some crazy science fiction writers out there, but like you can tell the ones that live in their mom's basement because they say some crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, and they live in their mom's basement and eat Cheetos on a couch. And that's how some of these untrained firearms instructors sound. When I
Hmm.
hear them say things that's like, well, you need to carry, like, okay, case in point, we'll start this rodeo.
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay, so I strongly believe that
Hmm.
you should carry with a round in the chamber. I
Yes.
do. I don't
I
think
agree with you.
well, no, like it shouldn't even be a discussion. Like
But it is.
there's no
We
other
have
thing
to
to do.
have that discussion.
Yeah. Are you going to drive your car without the key in the ignition? Well, no, it doesn't work. Well, your gun shouldn't work without a round in the chamber. Okay. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Well, I don't feel comfortable. The only people I've ever heard that say I don't feel comfortable with a round in the chamber are people that have never taken a training course.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the people that are going to come to the comment sections and argue this point, and that's fine. I'm prepared. And I don't care. The people that are going to come here and say stuff are going to say, well, I was in law enforcement and I saw NDs and I was in military and I saw people do this. Okay, I don't base my carry status from cops or military people.
Right.
Because those are two different scenarios, regardless. Those are two different scenarios. And if you saw cops ND, what training did the cop have? And that goes back to it. What are we evaluating our core beliefs on, right? So if you're religious, we go off of the word of, higher deity, right?
Yeah.
Why is it not the same thing with firearms training or with how we carry our guns? How come we don't have a higher doctrine that we go off of to be like, hey, this is why I do this? Because if I draw my pistol and I'm in a stress situation, can you guarantee you're going to remember that you don't have a round in the chamber?
You can't.
Okay. I can guarantee that if I have a round in the chamber, I can remember to press the trigger.
Okay.
Also, how many times have you racked the slide and maybe, or how many people have you seen? I'll say this part, maybe not you because you've racked, you know what you're doing. I've seen a lot of people in courses where when they rack a slide, they slowly bring it back, which causes the gun to hang up. Yep. Can you guarantee you're not going to do that in a stressful situation?
You can't.
Okay. So what's your
you say they can predict it? I was like, you obviously haven't trained enough. And then this is more so to play devil's advocate. This is the arguments I hear for the guys who carry on an empty chamber. Is they use it as a this is one of the things I heard. This is one of the guys when I was working back up in Quantico. It's like, I want to use it as a deterrent. So if the guy sees me chambering around, he's gonna stop. I was like, well, for one, if you're drawing your gun, that's already should be a deterrent enough. If you're having a chamber around, that means that guy's thing is like, I could have had time to attack this guy. He wasn't serious about using it. Two, like you were saying, there's no guarantee that the round's going to actually chamber. I don't know, maybe since you're carrying on an empty chamber, maybe you got an empty mag loaded in the gun too. You never know. So that's more so what I hear. And then you hear the guys like, oh, I'm scared, I don't want the round to go off. And then like you were saying, the guys who had NDs, like that's the key word is negligent before that discharge, is like they weren't doing what they were supposed to properly doing because they hadn't received training or they just weren't familiar enough with their firearm.
Yeah,
so
I call
that's
them
kind of the things I hear about that, but
I call them jackwagon discharges. That's what I call them another word, but I'm not going to say that here. Going off of, and I think that video games, movies, TV shows, they have decreased the educational value in the firearms community and in the culture. Because the fact that someone can think that you're going to draw a gun on someone in a civilian situation and you're not going to get cops called is crazy. And that's because the individual that said it, I don't know the individual, right? I've never heard of the individual before.
Yep.
Probably military or law enforcement, and his only experience is when he was probably deployed and his weapon was open anyway, and it was okay for him to point it in certain situations and not always shoot it.
Yep.
Okay, that does not translate to the civilian concealed carry. Doesn't translate to it. If your gun's leaving your holster and it's out, you better use it and have a good reason why you used it. Because drawing it, you're already, now what? So let's say you shouldn't have drawn it, right? So you just brandished a firearm.
Yep.
Did what did you threat deadly intent? Like, what all did you do? I wouldn't want to deal with any of that. You know what I mean? So I know, hey, I have a checklist. It's 1 through 15. I have to go through 14 steps of me deciding, hey, I'm going to draw my firearm and use it. Number 15 is draw my firearm and use it. Yep. So I have to go through, assessing the situation, identifying points of exit, I'm not just saying, okay, this dude's arguing with me, let me draw my gun and blast him.
Mm-hmm.
That we're in a different world here. Like it's not, that is not the thing to do. And when we have individuals like your buddy, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
he looks awesome on paper. I'm sure
Yep.
on paper someone would look and say, dude, I'll go take a class with that guy because he's, he's pretty smart. But what they're
Mm-hmm.
not understanding is that the points that he's smart at do not translate to the civilian concealed carry market,
Mm-hmm.
because he has no experience in it. And that's my issue with most law enforcement military instructors is they're used to what they did in the military.
Right.
I had a guy, almost said their name. I had a dude that took what was marketed, to my understanding, the course was marketed as a concealed carry course, right?
Okay.
And it was with a very well-named, very nice instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in the class were wearing battle belts, and they were all running like larger guns than what they carry, right? So like they're running battle belts with Glock 34s, Glock 17s, with Surefire X300s, with their threaded barrels and nothing threaded to it. Or they're running them with compensators, which, whatever. I already
Mm-hmm.
covered that. Whatever. But they were doing a concealed carry course. And when they were done at the course, because it was like a 2-day course, they took
Mm-hmm.
their battle belts off and they'd go get lunch together as a class. Where everybody would take their battle belts off, and half the people wouldn't put a gun on. And then the other half would put
Mm-hmm.
on a much smaller gun, like a
Mm-hmm.
Smith & Wesson Shield, a Ruger
Mm-hmm.
LCP, a Glock 43, something like that. So why are we
Yep.
training with bigger guns, but we're carrying something else? And I get
Mm-hmm.
maybe some situations, right? Like I will go and teach classes, right, at
Mm-hmm.
places where it's frowned upon. So I will just ensure that the point of being concealed means what?
Mm-hmm.
That you
Yep.
can't see it.
Right.
Okay. So, okay. But I don't break any laws. I do not break laws. I don't advocate breaking laws at any point in time. But
Right.
metal detectors, they're a crutch. So, but that's my issue is when we're taking a concealed carry course, take it with what
Mm-hmm.
you carry, for one, and two, I'm tired of seeing all these gun guys where I'll go and meet them places, or I'll go and see them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not carrying guns. I'm not going to say who, but I met a large. They did the, and I know people feel however they want to feel about the NRA show, but 2 years ago when they did the NRA show here in Dallas,
Uh-huh.
I ran into a whole lot of gun dudes. None of them were carrying guns. And all of them make YouTube videos talking about how they carry guns and how they do all this stuff. None of them were
Mm-hmm.
carrying guns. The dude that was carrying his gun made sure to drive or I don't know if he drove or flew, but he was 100% carrying a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was actually maybe even carrying two because he lives the lifestyle. He doesn't
Yep.
market the
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man. Well, it's really easy. I shouldn't say really easy, but like you're saying, kind of marketing lifestyle. It's kind of easier to market that because it's to commit to a lifestyle. It takes changes in behavioral and mindset, right? And that's really hard if you're not committed to it. So it's kind of easy to market it. It's like, oh, if I can sport this belt and then talk about how I carry this guns, it helps me sell merchandise because I've gained that following. So it's kind of going in line with what we were kind of talking about the other day about preying on the kindness in the 2A community.
Yeah.
This is what a lot of those I'm going to say Instagram personalities are doing
Influencers.
because
You
they're
have to call them influencers
influencers. All right, Instagram influencers
because they
helping to
influence.
sell a product. Nothing against the companies that they represent, but it's more so on the individual. Is made.
Ah, ah.
It depends on the company. It depends on the company.
No, I think I actually look poorly on companies that support those fake individuals just because of
Mm-hmm.
their follower count. Um,
Right.
like I think that's ridiculous. Like you
Mm-hmm.
are only supporting that individual for one, the way that they look, or
Mm-hmm.
two, the amazing photo that they can take, and that is it because they have nothing else.
Because it's cheap advertising.
Okay, but anyway, back to what you were saying. I apologize for interrupting.
But no, it just kind of it's. So I related to, so you have this favorite singer that you have growing up, and they're the perfect lyricist. They speak to you while they're singing,
Yeah.
and then you grow up and find out that person didn't write those lyrics. He had his own ghostwriter, or he was lip singing, or she was lip singing the whole time. It breaks your heart. So when you find out, it's like, I've followed and listened to this person for so long. Like, I've lived my whole life based on what they did. Then come to find out you're fake. Like, that's not what you believe in. Or like, you know, because they're out there, some Instagram influencers are actually anti-Second Amendment, but it's marketing, because that, you know, our community is like that. Like, we like to support our own community. So of course, when we see that, we'll support them. Then come to find out they're actually anti-gun. They're actually, you know, they don't carry, they don't believe in carry, or don't believe people should own guns. It's like I follow, like, you just feel betrayed. It's kind of
Yeah.
a letdown, and then you
Yeah.
kind of lose confidence in the industry, and it's like, man, it's just kind of rough. So that's just what I personally feel. But the thing is, like, if you're gonna talk it, be about it. If you're gonna be about it, talk about it. But don't just talk about it and not be about it. All right. So don't be fake.
Absolutely. I'm going to take a pause real quick just so I
Mm-hmm.
can thank a couple more of the sponsors that I got. I do want to talk about McKenna Tech Holsters. He has helped out. He's helped me out through teaching quite a bit. I have holsters here. Actually, at the course we took together,
Mm-hmm.
this was the holster I was carrying my 1911 in.
Mm-hmm.
It is. He makes fantastic holsters, and having the opportunity to, you know, help out a company like the way that he runs it, I will do that every day of the week. He's a phenomenal guy. He's done nothing but help me. Another company that I do like quite a bit are Condition 1 cases. These are the cases that I use in all my classes, and they, to my understanding, they're all TSA approved. But having the ability to, when I go out to courses or when I go teach, I don't just bring my instructor pistol out there with me. I have to bring like 3 or 4 other guns, because if a student's gun goes down and we can't immediately fix it, I don't want to just say, okay, go sit in the corner. Um, so having the ability to have a case out there that can easily, and, you know, with proper organization skills that I don't have, it helps me with those. Have extra magazines and 6 or 7 pistols in a case, I'll take that all day. So I greatly appreciate their help.
Mm-hmm.
With this next part that I'm going to get into, I'm going to touch the Instagram influencers part, because this is going to be a rant. Okay. Okay. So I don't listen to anyone that doesn't carry a gun.